Yo, what is up ladies and gamers? Welcome back to another video. Recently I've been getting recommended videos all over the place showing off really good Pokémon designs. I've made some drawings in the past just for fun, but seeing creators take on the massive endeavor of creating a whole region of their own designs has got me in the making mood. Today I'm going to be starting my own version of that project in hopes of running an original Pokemon adventure at my D&D table. It sounds so nerdy. Currently unnamed region is based on the northern part of South America, specifically the Andes and Amazon for their robust ecosystems. Something I've noticed is that most designers don't dive too heavily into gameplay or stats, but I'm just making myself sound worse. I also dabble in competitive, so I'm gonna briefly speak on the learn sets, abilities, and stats of my Pokemon, if you're interested. If not, there will be timestamps to the next design process. Without further ado, here are the starter Pokemon for my region. We already have a Sloth Pokemon, but last time I checked, they aren't even from Japan, where Hoenn is based on, so I made another for the grass starter. This little fella is based on the two-toed sloth in the Amazon, and I wanted it to feel relaxed and cuddly. I've appreciated the different color choices for the starters as the generations have moved on, so I included a little extra brown on the face and some very subtly red eyes because this guy likes to chill. A combination of pajamas and mammal, this is Jamammal, the comfort Pokemon. It seemingly sleeps every moment that it can. It only wakes for battles and for quality time with its trainer. Though it spends most of its time sleeping, it moves as though it has no energy even while awake. Up next is Cloth, and I know that name sounds pretty close to Cloth, but I genuinely want to know, when was the last time you thought about that Pokemon? This is the moody teen phase that a lot of middle evolutions have, and I like how it looks at you like you caught it doing something embarrassing and now it's mad at you for seeing it do that. It's fluffy and a little disheveled. I'm not entirely sure about the pose yet. I like it because it's really unique, but it does lack a little bit of legibility. Cloth, the comfort Pokemon. Trainers often find it difficult to work with their Cloth, who seems to prefer solitude. Experts theorize that the Pokemon secretly enjoys when it is called upon because it likes the attention. The last stage here definitely puts up an even bigger stoner vibe, but it is a grass type. Getting the steel type turns his toes into blades and gives him a coat of fur that acts kind of like a gambeson. I wanted the slouch, the pant strings, and the almost beard to look very kind of deadbeat. That might be insulting to stoners out there, I don't mean to be. I'm pleased that it doesn't look too human. I was worried that it would be kind of like Incineroar, where it's just a cat's head and a dude's body, but I think the big coat and the Sasquatch-like posture set him apart. And I really like the name. Pajama Shetty, the comfort Pokemon. It has mastered the ability to relax, ensuring that it is always in a pleasant mood. This also creates a demeanor that foes will constantly underestimate. This Pokemon's claws, even with a lax slash, are so sharp that they can cut through even the thickest foliage with ease. I'm gonna talk balance and gameplay for a bit, but here's the timestamp for the start of the next design if you want to skip through it, no insult taken. So Pajama Shetty has some great defensive typing. Grass and Steel have really good synergy, as seen with Ferrothorn, leaving the Pokemon with only 2 weaknesses, a regular weakness to fighting and a 4x weakness to fire. This leaves it in a pretty great but counterable position with decent bulk, especially physical, but a clear weakness to fire. My games will have a different gimmick as well, so it has no way to terrastalize. Offensively though, it's also pretty good. It's very slow, meaning it makes a great Trick Room attacker. Its hidden ability is Sharpness, meaning that its moves such as Leaf Blade or its signature move are 50% stronger, making its decent attack stat feel completely lethal. Speaking of, its signature is Heavy Claw, a steel type move with 100 base power, a high crit chance, and only 90% accuracy. I want it to hit really hard with a minor inconsistency, but it gets some additional value from crit boosting moves and items. I also wanted to get slack off in Iron Defense if you wanted to play like a wall. This is Lilint, the first in the fire line. They're mostly based on the Hoenn. This is a magnificent bird in the mangroves of the Amazon. They're also loosely based on Ink and Myth, though that's much more of an inspiration than a full design element. This little one was going to be less bird-like at first, but it ended up making it a little cuter and more faithful to traditional starter design elements. It has these flares on its head that act both as hair and kinda like fireworks, which will become more prevalent as it evolves. Lilint, the ritual Pokemon. It has a desire to bring cheer, so the fiery frills on its head will become dimmer when its trainer is sad. It has difficulty walking, but older Lilint will learn how to bounce with both of their feet. The second of the fire line is Litual. I was having trouble making another moody teen, so I decided to go in the complete opposite direction and really focus on the cheerfulness part that was coming through in the first. As such, I gave it pom-poms to cheer your team on, and I wanted the fire coming off of it to look even more like fireworks. I would love for it to have a cheer move, but I think the only one is Dragon Cheer, which doesn't seem quite right. I think it ended up being really cute, and I love the firework pom-pom idea. Litual, the ritual Pokémon. When watching its allies in battle, it will wave sparks about in excitement. The resulting fire has led to the closure of a gym in the region. The fiery flares at the end of its wings are used both for celebratory ritual and for setting its foes ablaze. While I'm pleased with the design, I was a little less sure of the look of this one. Let me know if it's a little too human for you. Other than that, I think I like it. This design takes some inspiration from Amazonian cultures, not Wonder Woman. The feathers with the fireworks coming out look like the colorful wings of the Hotsun. The pose is a bit vague, but meant to look like a ritualistic dance of that culture as well. The fireworks around its head are the part I kept from my original idea, being more based on Inti the Ink and Sun God, but I think this firework look is a little more fairy and fitting. Gloriflare, the ritual Pokemon. It puts on displays using its magical feathers that are so enchanting they can stun onlookers in place. The flames it produces are enchanted with ancient magics. They are so beautiful that they can leave its foes in awe even after being hit with a powerful attack. Gloriflare is meant to mix special attack with some support fitting into the cheering theme, thus it learns some support moves like Will-O-Wisp and Heal Pulse. Its signature move is Stunning Burst, an 80 base power move with a 20% chance to flinch. This, as well as some moves like Flamethrower and Heat Wave that can burn, pair really well with its amazing hidden ability, Serene Grace. Fire and Fairy have great synergy, with Fire countering the steel that fucks Fairy. They don't have a lot of overlap on super effective hits at all, so that means that only Fire resists both of them. Defensively, they have some crucial weaknesses, but they're pretty safe too. So that it doesn't absolutely cook, it only has a decent speed stat of 90, leaving it in need of Tailwind or a Choice Scarf to get those flinches. Its special attack is pretty high but not absurd, and it loses out on some physical bulk for it. I know making a water-type frog starter looks bad, but I promise he'll end up different enough from the other one to be okay. Even the first stage is round and goofy as opposed to Froaky's slim and bouncy demeanor. This line is based on the paradoxical frog, and the reason they're called that will become apparent as the designs go on. I love this picture of the frog with his fat collar so much that it just had to be included in the design. It's also meant to look like a pocket watch with the clock pattern on its head and back and a sort of ring for a chain made by its arms. Its name both sounding like timid and time and amphibian. This is Timibian, the pocket frog Pokemon. It seems very simple, but this Pokemon has a strong connection with the passage of time. It can use the patterns on the top of its head like a clock, always pointing to the correct time. Some trainers use this Pokemon as an alarm clock. Its deep focus on time means that it is not gentle when waking up even the heaviest of sleepers. My bad, I forgot most of the time-lapse on this one, but this one really emphasizes the pocket watch look, like the chain with the holes in the segmented tail and the more circular shape of the body. The watch pattern is both more obvious and stays somewhat abstract. I wanted the Pokédex entry for this one to have the same sort of ominous power that the Behem one has, where, like, the Pokédex tells you, you might have had your memories erased. Tadpooral, the backwards growth Pokemon. Scientists continue to be baffled by the evolution cycle of this Pokemon, showing an almost backwards growth from other similar species. It is easily embarrassed by mistakes. It uses its control over time to fix them when it feels overly flustered. I love floating hands. Haunter is one of my favorite Pokemon just because of that. So when I got to make this Psychic Tadpole, I of course went for it. You can see I almost did the Doctor Strange pose for it, but I thought it looked a little less weird this way. The Paradoxical Frog is an enormous tadpole, and it becomes a very small frog as it progresses through life. I wanted to really exaggerate that idea by having this line start as Little Frog and go fully backwards into Tadpole. I experimented with pink, but Psychic is luckily one of the types that allows for a lot of color variation. So for the base version, I went with green, just like the Time Stone. The shiny is still pink though. I also really like this one for being very non-human. Parafrox, the Paradox Pokemon. It uses its psychic powers to bend time to its whim. Many trainers of Parafrox claim to have memories that others say are false. It can use its control over time to speed up how fast it can swim or attack. This is probably the most exciting one in terms of playstyle. Starting with its stats, it's specially strong and pretty bulky, especially for a starter. As for speed, it's very middling. Normally that's bad, but its signature ability is super unique. Time Warp gives it a boost or a drop in speed when Tailwind or Trick Room are set up respectively. This means that it has an advantage on either kind of team and works well with a mixed speed team. Its signature move might be broken, let me know, but it is a Psychic +1 priority move called Timeline Tear. That kind of sounds like a Z move, but I think that's okay. So it can have a boost from Psychic Terrain, which normally stops priority moves, but it has the unique property of ignoring priority blocks from abilities in terrain. The thought behind the move is that it isn't actually moving faster, it's just altering time, so how the fuck are you supposed to block it? It has a power of 50, so slightly stronger than most other priority moves. I thought this was okay because Water and Psychic have zero defensive synergy. They do hit every individual type for neutral at least. Since you need a terrain setter anyway, I don't think this Pokemon would be too crazy, but it would also be impossible to outspeed in a Psychic Surge. Let me know if that's broken. For all of them, I wanted to make sure they had something unique to all other starters. Their typing, for instance, has yet to be used on another starter, and Gloriflare has a completely unique typing. The whole region, I'm excited to say, has many uniquely typed Pokemon lined up. These three also share a theme. Gloriflare, with some influence of mythology and unmodern society, is meant to represent fantasy. Pajamasheti, having pajamas and a modern tool as his primary influence, shows modernity and reality. Finally, with time travel and psychic powers, Parafrox is sci-fi. They are fantasy and sci-fi as well as the consumer of both. I chose this because much of this region is also going to be based on Dungeons & Dragons as well. I mentioned at the start that I want to make this into a TTRPG for my D&D table, so a lot of the upcoming designs are influenced both on the ecosystem of South America and creatures from D&D and some similar games. If you would like to see more, please subscribe to catch the next one, and I would really appreciate some critique down below. I am not an excellent renderer, especially when this is my first time trying to emulate the Pokemon style, so any pointers or ideas would be super appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll be here for the next one.